We learn to live and live to learn in what has turned out to be an unprecedented situation, an unprecedented pandemic, with history being written across the geography of Mother Earth. And a minor virus has created a major catastrophe, making each and every one of us rewind, rethink, re-strategize, reset, reboot before we rebuild a new future, a new normal. The only thing constant, they say, in life is change. Is uncertainty. And that's exactly what each of us are experiencing across the world, and particularly in the education world, where the challenges are unique, but so are the solutions, and so are the opportunities. And that is why we at edumate.tv get together on platforms like these with every single stakeholder of the education ecosphere: the student, the parent, the teacher, the vice chancellor, the politician, the minister, the bureaucrat, the edupreneur, as well as the principals and the professors, to try and understand what in this unique situation will be the best way forward for our students and for our education system as a whole. I'm pleased to announce that this program is brought to you by Education, a company that looks at education ahead. With great pride, I do announce it's powered by one of India's better universities located in Ghaziabad, the IMS. As always, we have a list of luminary speakers to talk us through our very, very poignant, important, critical topic today, at a time when India needs its youth to look at thinking critically. It needs to encourage critical thinking, and that has to only happen from the professional environment. So professional environment, professional education, higher education is an absolute must in today's post-COVID environment. So what does that entail? We'll talk about that and lots more, but first, a look at our very, very welcome guests. I always say, to educate better, you'd better edumate. And edumate.tv is bringing this very special program in conjunction with IMS Ghaziabad. And now our first speaker, of course, for today, to open the debate, open the topic, which almost seems not a debate, but a declamation, Professor Alok Pandey, the popular face of Professor Alok Pandey, who heads the institute. Professor, it's a season time for admission. But what's most important, it's also topical. It's topical for all of us to understand the value of higher professional education now than ever before. Your take.
We are, after 7 decades, it is still, a paper pen exam which is a norm all across India. If you look at the state of affairs in India, you have a country which is, inhabited by close to 1.4 billion people. And as of 2020, we've got close to 1,000 universities, state, central, deemed, etc. Apart from that, 155 institutes, and this includes, around 155 institutes of national importance. Despite this, as many higher education institutions, we have less than 15% people who are graduates. Well, the question arises, why education? And why higher education? Why professional higher education? We also have a new bogey being created in last 4-5 years, which is about skill-based education. And, adding, and you always say, higher ed, and, you talk about higher education, and you talk about higher in terms of HIGHER and HIRE. And we talk about employability. And we say that, no, not everybody is capable of higher education, so he should take up something else and he should do some kind of a skill-based course. Now, all that is under question in a country where, large number of people have no access to education. If you look at the primary, secondary, tertiary education in the world, most of the education in this world, actually, if you look at it, if I say that, there's some data with me, primary means 4 to 10 years, secondary 11 to 18 years, tertiary 19 to 21 years, and so on. we need to understand as to where we stand with the rest of the world, whether this education is adding value to society, whether this education is adding to economic growth. Education should mean that we not just produce students who become leaders for tomorrow, which is the punchline of IMS Ghaziabad also, but also who add to the productivity of the country. Are we adding enough graduates, quality graduates or otherwise?
Abhijit wants to know, as we prepare to enter a new era of work, what will change? Do you really feel the importance of higher professional education in this post-COVID era? Sanya wants to know, almost on the same lines, as we prepare to enter the new era of work, what will change and how it will affect freshers post-COVID? And Rupam wants to know, is it possible to have post-COVID higher education through digital mode? If yes, what kind of action plan institutions must take up?
Do we have an option to survive without education? That to higher education, that to professional higher education? Absolutely not. Professional education, that too, in this particular situation, becomes a new normal. It will be a new normal for all of us. Doesn't matter whether Corona is there or something else. If you need to grow yourself, you need to be educated well. It's like higher education is like a fuel in a car. If you want to drive a car, but it doesn't have fuel in it. If you want to grow yourself, but you do not have the education, you do not have the skill, so everything is gone in there. तो कहते हैं कि वो जीना भी क्या जीना है जिसमें आगे बढ़ने की ख्वाब ना हो. So it's very pertinent to say that we need to focus on higher education, that to professional higher education, to make us an edge. We need to focus on doing, contributing towards the society, contributing for making the country, contributing for making the nation, instead of only talking.
When you're in a higher education platform, the students, please understand that, yes, of course, you do your 12th, then graduation. And the important thing is you need to have a professional education, post-graduation or a graduation is of professional skillful sort. So when I came to the Premier Institute, I think it really integrated my entire ability of whatever I have thought for work profile and my education from A to Z. Of course, I am a student of management, so I will obviously have a bias towards management in a big way. And even now and earlier, the management is one subject, and we had been taught as general management. We are not given a degree of business management. As you know, IIM Ahmedabad gives a degree, post-graduation degree, which calls post-graduation in management. That simply means that you are able to serve the entire world, entire industry, entire sectors in all its entirety. Just now, Doctor said that, we need today students and youngsters in the healthcare industry, for example, which did not do too much in the management professional field. So you should believe that, you do not have to be a doctor to get into even a healthcare industry. Your management education and higher skillful education, whether it's a digital, whether it's management, whether it is the ability of skills which you develop, is required in every sector. This sector is today become agnostic of your initial earlier education. It is more important that what higher education exposure you have and what skillfulness you join, and from that skill, how you take it forward in any industry.
Rohit wants to know, should a master degree be a must for graduates to reduce unemployment in the country? Ayushi wants to know, companies and firms have suffered adversely because of COVID-19. Companies will try to get rid of employees that are not experienced. So as a fresher, I think the chances of us getting employed is very low. So what should we do in this situation? On the same lines, Pooja also wants to know, there's a lot of unemployment currently due to the pandemic. People are shifting from private jobs to government jobs. My concern is, even after completion of our masters, if we want to pursue our career in private sector, would that be a good option? And Archana wants to know, since the financial conditions are affected brutally during this pandemic, why would a graduate student seek for a higher studies? What if even then he or she can't get employed with these developed skills?
that as far as freshers are concerned, I would say you guys are blessed. I'm a very optimistic person, a very positive person, so I'll give a very positive view. Imagine if I was 20 years in my job and I would have lost a job. Well, thankfully, I'm not employed. I had a group of 15 companies and I have a fair amount of people working for me. But imagine if I was in a job for 20 years and I had suddenly, because of the pandemic, I had lost the job. I think if your question was relevant to that, I would have been really worried and my answer would have been worrying. But you guys are lucky. Freshers are lucky. You know why? Because you are entering into your careers at a time when the whole world economy and the world of business has been reset. I'm using the word reset because people are sort of starting again. They are revamping their businesses. They are revisiting their business models. They are re-looking at their marketing strategies. They are re-looking at their expansion plans. So no better time for a fresher to enter. In fact, as a corporate body, you would be surprised. At least 3 of our companies, in an effort to reduce the cost load, has given a golden handshake to some of the stalwarts who were probably drawing salaries over close to 1 CR and so. And you will not believe. Now this is for the freshers. This is a revelation here, Chetan, for you and your team of students. That you would not believe that there was a manager, of course I can't name, his emoluments were about 84 lakhs per annum. You would not believe we have found a fresh MBA who's now costing us 8.4, and would you believe he's able to deliver the same kind of results? There was another case where somebody was getting around 75. We found somebody whom we are paying 12 right now, and the person is able to do the job. So I thought freshers now have a greater chance because companies are trying to reduce their overall costs, and freshers do not cost them a bomb. You're starting your career, and a bright fresher, I feel, loaded with technological intellect is far more effective.
One needs to think what professional education does to you. Once you have a closer look at that, then I think you can justify or leave professional education. So professional education, amongst other things, sharpens a couple of skills in a professional student, which perhaps the traditional education fails to do. For example, in management education, let me take the example of my own institute. We very strongly focus on developing 3-4 set of skills, first of which is analytical skills. So the methods like case study methodology asks you to really rack your brains and find out what is the real issue behind a situation. That is one. Second is the ability to synthesize. It's analyzing something is not enough. You need to be able to synthesize also. So once you have separated wheat from the chaff, then you need to collect and gather that wheat so that you are able to make bread out of it, so to speak. So then the ability to synthesize information. This is another piece of very critical information. Third is critical thinking skills. I think what Mr. Kohli was talking about sharpening the brain, I'm just trying to elaborate what he really meant. So analytical skills, synthetic skills, and critical thinking skills.
The Delhi University system was pretty hardly hit by the pandemic. And initially we were not well prepared with the entire online education system. But with time, I think we have adopted well. I can speak for myself first. So if I can probably elaborate on this, that before COVID, I used to also teach students for IAS entrances. Now, before COVID, I had around 3 students, of which in the previous lecture I mentioned that two of them got selected. Now, because of this entire online teaching transition, from 3 students from last year, I've been able to transit into 438 students. That's been the transition that I've had. But for that transition, we need to adopt the education, the online, the hybrid education system.
So we've got a bit of a 360 now. We've got the higher education voice, we've got the industry voice, we've got the college voice, the people who are preparing our young students for that higher education. Let's take a quick break and then get the next set of questions. Welcome back to edumate.tv. You're watching our very special coverage on why higher education has become so exclusive and so imperative now in the going scenario. Well, I mentioned the word exclusive because there are exclusive courses coming up. It's horses for courses now. New kinds of education, new kinds of courses, new kinds of employability, new kinds of skills, and new kinds of careers.
Komal wants to know, when a large number of business have already moved from offline to online in the pre-COVID era, why hasn't higher education not moved to online yet? And Sapna wants to know, this COVID-19 period has created a big loss in our studies by creating a long gap between students and education. How students will cover up these losses post-COVID-19? Sahil wants to know, why has the government not thought of holistic education till now?
The government definitely needs to do something about the education sector, primarily in supporting the private sector, which is there, in terms of maybe even giving a financial package, because what is happening is that there are the admissions time that is there, and people are not right now getting admissions, and as a result they're not getting a sufficient amount of a revenue for themselves to sustain the faculty or the other infrastructure they have been maintaining. So we do see that there is a need for the governments to be there to provide for a particular infrastructure that is there. There is a need for a private initiative to be a little more stronger, where faculty engage themselves more closely or offer more programs through MDPs, through FDPs, or through other programs through the online sources.
The higher education and professional higher educations both are different. It's a mere degree. So if you are having a MA or MSc in a correspondence, just you are having a degree. But in case of professional higher education, what is the differentiating factor? The experience, the life skills which you are inculcating during the program, that keeps this professional higher education different from the higher education, so which is missing in our online program. So yeah, in post-COVID scenario, we are moving towards that, but still we can't replace this professional higher, we cannot put this professional higher degree programs on an online mode completely.
तो नमस्ते, शुरू करते हैं हम एक कविता जो कि खुद हमारे द्वारा लिखी गई है, जिसका टाइटल है फरिश्ते। तो ध्यान से सुनिएगा। रूह जिस्म से निकल रही होती, रूह जिस्म से निकल रही होती है, हम भगवान के सामने हाथ फैलाते हैं, तभी सफेद कोट पहने सामने से चलकर भगवान इंसान के रूप में चले आते हैं। रूह को खींचकर वो वापस जिस्म में समाते हैं, उजड़ते घर को वो बिखरने से बचाते हैं। सफेद चादर न ओढ़ा दी जाए एक जिस्म को, इसलिए वो खुद के तन पे सफेद लिबास अपनाते हैं। हाँ, सही समझा आपने, वो और कोई नहीं, वो हमारे डॉक्टर्स ही कहलाते हैं। ध्यान दीजिएगा इन लाइंस पे कि 2020 का खेल चल रहा है, 2020 का खेल चल रहा है, एज इट्स 2020। तो 2020 का खेल चल रहा है, कोरोना को आउट करने की तैयारी है। जिंदा इन डॉक्टर्स और पुलिस वालों के बेहतर फील्डिंग्स के बदौलत ही हैं हम, छाई दुनिया पे गंभीर बीमारी। शुक्रिया उन सभी का करते हैं हम, शुक्रिया उन सभी का करते हैं हम, जिन्होंने अपनी जान जोखिम पर लगाई है, देश के खातिर उन्होंने बड़ी कीमत चुकाई है। परिवार उनके सलामत रहे, परिवार उनके सलामत रहें, जिन्होंने सही बड़ी लंबी जुदाई है। सत सत नमन उन डॉक्टर्स और पुलिस वालों का, जिन्होंने अपनी भूख प्यास दर्द परिवार सबको भूलकर लड़ी ये लड़ाई।
Today's generation is our infantry. We could be the artillery, which is 2 kilometers behind. It was such difficult conditions under which, if you see that movie, They Shall Not Grow Old, it's 1 hour, 20 minutes, something like that. Peter Jackson, you can search it. It's available on Amazon Prime. But the fact is that it is young which create a nation. If youth have a habit of reading, if youth have a habit of understanding what is going around them, youth have a habit of being sensitive to things around them, then only we'll create a nation which, in true words, in true sense, would be a nation which will lead the world.
There are around 51,000 higher education institutions in our country. But But where is the gap actually? Because there were so many students, who were asking about the unemployment which is prevailing in our country. But let me tell you that 2 months back, we were at 23% unemployment rate. But currently we are at 11% unemployment rate. So you can very well understand when the businesses revived, we have actually, recovered the rate which we had lost.
Karthik wants to know, as we are not sure when this pandemic will get over, suppose if it gets over in the middle of our regular sessions, what will be the study criteria then? And will our syllabus be reduced or will our exam schedule be changed? What will be the overall changes that we will have to make in our studies in post-pandemic environment?
Now, open book examination system, whether done online or done offline, they basically have one premise, that the candidate has understood whatever he has been taught, one, and he can apply, and he also can evaluate, he also can analyze, and he can. So I will give you a question, for example, in an examination that you've studied a course on marketing. Prepare a marketing plan for me to sell a product. Say a new entrepreneur, Mr. Chetan Sharma, has a new venture. And how does he plan his venture? So you will have to do all these spreadsheet exercise, and you'll have to create the financials, you'll have to project the financials, you'll have to create a strategy, you'll have to identify the possible groups, you probably will have to identify questions which may be asked from a possible audience or possible buyers. So, what we are saying is that open book examination and proctored examination will help us identify our students better. Then let me tell you, online education is very, very hard work. It's a huge hard work. You need to create new style of teaching. You have to ask faculty to work in a different manner. It's not easy at all. It's much easier to go to a classroom and deliver a lecture. So if you think that quality of higher education on online is going to be lower or examination there'll be cheating, please don't worry about it. Let me tell you, it all starts from you. If you are interested in improving your own abilities, if you are interested in making yourself, let me tell you, today's corporate sector, ask Mr. Chetan Sharma. Ask Mr. Sharad, let me tell you, Chetan Sharad was associated with the IMS Ghaziabad long back. In 90s, he was a part of this institution, right? And I can tell you that if you start thinking in terms of the organizations, if you start thinking in terms of people who employ you, they're not interested in your marks only. They are interested in your abilities. So please don't focus on marks and degrees. Focus on developing yourself as a future professional, as a future leader, as to how you're going to contribute to organizations in their growth.
Exams or no exams, my dear students, your quality is not going to change. It's your quality which does matters, right? It's the best time, like Professor Das Siddharth said, it's the best time to invest in your skills. It's the best time to hone your skills. Try investing more and more time on upskilling yourself, on reskilling yourself. Try investing more time to focus on your communication, your confidence, your consistency, and of course, your content, which you'll get from many sources. So these C's are going to make you able, make you competent to fight in the professional career, professional culture.
If we've got to move forward, it has to be only through higher education. The first thing you've got to do, the first E is expect. You've got to learn to anticipate where the movements are, and then you've got to go along the line, align it with your skill set, your passion. Both of them are very critical. The next E is to embrace. Once you've done that, you should just go wholeheartedly. You should take it at a 360. You should go with your entire heart, soul, and mind to embrace it. And then you will do the third C, which is evolve. You've got to respect that this is a dynamic situation. It's going to change time after time. Everything that you do is work in progress. It'll take its own shape, it'll take its own form, but it'll get you exactly what you're looking for. So be prepared to evolve and not be complacent with what you've got. Thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us. And finally, to conclude, as I always say, on edumate.tv, to educate yourself better, you'd better edumate.